As a player with over 2,000 hours in Terraria and multiple completions in hardcore, I've always been looking for ways to make the experience more difficult and painful. So I decided to play the game in legendary difficulty on hardcore mode. Yeah, this isn't going to go well. Accessing this difficulty is made possible by entering For The Worthy as the world seed, which makes the world much harder in many ways, including bombs now drop from trees and pots occasionally, bunnies are now replaced with explosive bunnies, some water pools are now replaced by lava, and many enemies and bosses are capable of killing me in a singular hit. That doesn't sound painful at all. I must also note there was originally microphone audio in the pre-edited footage, but I lost it when editing, so I guess I'll just have to voice over all of this footage and attempt to fix it for the next video. Anyways, I tried explaining how I died in my first attempt at this challenge, which I didn't actually record, by increasing the tick rate of the game with a mod to get to daytime quicker, only to try and gather fallen stars, and then die to a zombie whilst the game was running at 10 times its original speed. Like, what did I think was gonna happen when I did that? Anyways, I spend the start of this run just gathering the basic resources needed, like jail for torches, wood, and all the other essentials that you need in this game. And conveniently, one of the best ways of gathering these resources shows up. A living tree. How wonderful. I proceed to enter this living tree to gather its many resources, which should make this journey a little bit less unpleasant. Though as you'll see, it'll still be very unpleasant. Now, looting this tree should be very easy, so long as I don't encounter a gnome. This may or may not be foreshadowing future events that are about to transpire. Oh no, I have spotted a gnome. However am I going to deal with this problem? I'll tell you how I'll solve it. By jumping up and then proceeding to block him off, causing him to fall down into the second half of the tree. As you can see, he attempts to run and jump up to me, but I just block him off with 2 blocks of that. But he just runs back in. So I get him to do it again, and successfully block him off so he falls into the hole below. Anyways, I'll save you from watching the rest of this run as I die only an hour or so in. In fact, I'll even toss in the other 4 deaths as a sort of mini montage. Enjoy. Now this one was especially stupid, as I somehow managed to hit a bat as it's trying to catch up to me, and hit it into myself. Like, how does one even manage to do that? And I think by this attempt I'd started to give up hope. Like, this seed just wasn't it, so I just kind of asked this worm to politely end my run. Did I really just die 5 times? Did I need a change in strategy? Or was I just getting unlucky seeds? These were all questions I began asking myself. However, I wouldn't need to be asking these questions much longer, as I would start a run that would change everything. It began like the rest, just chopping trees for wood, and then exploring the beginning of the world for any trees or caves, so that I can gather starting resources that I may require. Easy. I then almost die to a green slime, embarrassingly. However, it doesn't quite kill me, rather it puts me on 4 health. I then box myself in and create a campfire for health regen before continuing to explore the cave. Oh no, the brother gnome who is now trying to avenge his fallen brother. I desperately tried to evade this gnome, who knocked me down to 45 health by jumping onto my platform and then destroying it behind me so he can't follow. Now that was closer than it needed to be. And after making a tungsten pickaxe, I decided to continue mining. Now, if you thought those first two near-death experiences were bad, just take a look at this. Yes, I avoided death to a bomb explosion by almost dying to a bat. I don't think I could be luckier if I even tried to. Anyways, we'll go back to mining. After my first mining session was concluded, I decided it was time to explore more of my world. And as I explored to the right, I stumbled across a desert temple, which would give me one of the best early game accessories, the sandstorm in a bottle. God, I can't tell you how useful that's going to be for the rest of this challenge. Once I'd equipped the bottle, I decided against entering the underground desert and instead went into another cave to start mining once again, as staying underpowered in this stage of the game would be the worst decision I could make aside from fighting the dungeon guardian. And after that short-lived mining trip, I decided to make a start on my storage system and also make some temporary housing for NPCs. After nearly dying on the ground, I decided to explore all of the right side of my world. Anyways, where do I want to go? Jungle could be interesting, especially if I can get like a warding aglet or something. Also, I just remembered the last time I came here, I died to a jungle bat because I hit it with an enchanted boomerang. And after fully exploring the right side of my world, I decided to go back into the caves to get full HP. I have made houses. I was about to say, have I not made houses yet? I haven't got bugs in. I forgot I hadn't even, like, checked in on my NPCs. I just kind of left them here. I suppose we might as well get started on fighting King Slime then. Because slime began to fall from the sky, indicating that a slime rain event had begun, I decided to make an arena, and then gather some buffs, and attempt to fight King Slime. Now, while the slime rain concluded rather uneventfully, the game would proceed to send me another message just moments later. And with that message, I thought, I might as well fight him. After all, what's the worst that could happen? Now, with the eye spawning rather suddenly, I wasn't as prepared as I could have been, but as most of my gear was more than enough to deal with him, I decided on fighting him anyways. The good thing about the eye is that most of his attacks can be easy to avoid after enough practice, meaning I wasn't going to be taking damage that often. In addition to that, the few attacks he was landing on me weren't dealing a significant amount of damage, making it nearly impossible to die in this battle. Did it. We beat our first boss in For The Worthy hardcore. And after our victory against the Eye, I decided that I wasn't finished fighting, and decided to challenge King Slime to a battle. Unlike the Eye of Cthulhu, where he doesn't change too much in Legendary mode, and his attacks are easy to avoid, King Slime gets a massive buff in this difficulty. This is mainly due to his increase in size, which makes him a much harder target to avoid. Additionally, he also does quite a lot of damage per hit, meaning a death to him is much more likely. However, the Sandstorm in a bottle managed to help me overcome these problems, as the increase in height it provides allows me to jump over him, making him a cakewalk for the most part. He's done. Oh, that's not something I could have expected. It seems that the game decided it wanted to give me a blood moon, so I decided to use my lava trap to farm the blood moon enemies for a shark tooth necklace and a money trough. The shark tooth necklace would provide 5 armor penetration, meaning my attacks would deal more damage. As for the money trough, it allows me to access my piggy bank on the go without needing to carry a spare around. Whilst exploring the underground jungle, I get a message warning me about a goblin invasion. Now, the most important thing to note about the goblin invasion is that you only need to achieve 100% clearance, which I'm pretty sure just comes from killing 100 enemies. This means that I can improve my chances of succeeding by placing a lava trap beneath me, forcing most of the goblins to fall into the lava trap and die. However, both the archers and sorcerers would be a massive problem. Firstly, sorcerers stand still and shoot projectiles that go through walls, meaning I'd have to attack them myself to avoid getting hit. And for the archers, I'd need to force them to walk towards me rather than shoot, which I overcame by placing a row of blocks beneath myself. After defeating the goblins, I reforged my gear before exploring both the underground desert and underground ice biomes to gather biome-specific drops, such as the ancient chisel and blizzard in a bottle. An angel statue. Well, that's great, isn't it? Thank you. Jesus Christ. Once I'd finished mining, I decided to craft frostbite boots, and then complete the daily fishing quest before exploding the underground crimson to challenge the brain of Cthulhu. The strategy that I deployed for the Brain of Cthulhu was quite simple in theory. If I stand in a corner and shoot towards the only version of the brain that wasn't covered by blocks, it should always be the version that I have to hit. However, this didn't work, which I presume is because of the lack of knockback that the diamond staff had against the brain, causing it to become exposed from the blocks enough to ruin my strategy. Always be this way. Yep, it's working. It's not working! It doesn't work. 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 Now after that failure of an attempt, I decided to challenge the brain to a rematch. However, this also wouldn't go in my favour, and would once again bring me within a second of the run's end. Not wanting to risk death by attempting the Brain of Cthulhu again, I decided to dig down at the right side of my world to locate the Shimmer biome, as this would be useful now for a small life regen buff. Additionally, the Shimmer will also allow me to decraft items, meaning I can get better reforges without wasting money, and I'll also be able to access other permanent buffs later on in the run, such as the Aegis Fruit, which grants +4 defense. I then decided to build an arena for Skeletron, as I thought he'd be a much easier boss to take on compared to the Brain of Cthulhu. I built 2 rows of platforms with life regen buffs, as well as sunflowers that would aid in movement speed. At this stage in progression, Skeletron can be typically quite challenging, as he has a few attacks that can be difficult to dodge. However, because I've fought him a lot, I figured these attacks shouldn't be too hard to avoid, and that he'd be easy to beat. This wasn't the case, and a few hits back to back would get me low on health, causing me to retreat and decide to mine for Hellstone. And with the Blood Moon rising, I decided to challenge Skeletron to a rematch. And although he still managed to get me low a couple times, the increased damage of the Flamerang and increased defense of Molten Armor was enough to help me take him down in the end. Why was that so difficult, man? For the Worthy is something, man. I don't think I'm beating this. I don't think I'm beating this. If I struggle to get past Skeletron and the Brain of Cthulhu, how do I expect to beat the Wall of Flesh and Hard Boat? With Skeletron out of the way, I had not only gained access to the dungeon, but also floating island chests, meaning I could finally get my hands on a shiny red balloon and a lucky horseshoe. Oh. Once I'd finally obtained the Muramasa, I was able to craft pretty hard mode's best sword, the Knight's Edge. Could give me a couple. Oh, we don't even need a couple. I then used the shadow key obtained from the dungeon to open shadow chests. Now most of the loot obtained from these chests wasn't going to be too useful for me. However, one of the rarer items obtained from these chests was going to be very useful for the next two bosses, and that item is the Life Force Potion. This potion gives the player a 20% maximum health boost for 8 minutes, meaning we would have an additional 80 health for any boss fights. The reason I was looking for them in shadow chests is because they cannot be obtained in any other way prior to hard mode, where they can be crafted with prismite caught in the Hallow biome. It's the lizard. Why the fuck is it in hell? I've never seen that before. Oh, I've already fucked up. Thank God the Knight's Edge just makes that ridiculously easy at the end. After finally managing to beat the Brain of Cthulhu, thanks to the Knight's Edge, I decided to build a jungle arena and challenge Queen Bee. This fight wasn't extremely difficult as her attacks are fairly predictable, only being difficult to dodge as she gets faster. That being said, the damage she dealt with these attacks, mainly the dash, could take a significant portion of my health away, meaning I couldn't take the fight too easy or she'd kill me in only a few hits. After slaughtering Queen Bee, I decided to bomb out a massive space next to Hell for an underground farm. This would give me much easier access to drops from underground enemies, such as mimics, as well as a chance to obtain the Hellfire in early hard mode. After completing this farm and mining up a meteor that landed in my surface fishing spot, I decided it was time to build my Wall of Flesh arena. The idea I had was to use minecart rails, and this was for two main reasons. The first is that the For The Worthy Wall of Flesh spawns fire imps, which deal significant amounts of damage, and I thought if I used minecart track, they couldn't spawn behind me on a hell bridge. The second reason for this strategy was that I wouldn't need any movement accessories if I was sat in a minecart throughout the entire fight, meaning I could increase damage and survivability. Not much point in building it out any further than that. Yeah, we're here. I then decided that I wanted to fight the Old One's army, as gaining 30 defender medals would give me access to 2 pieces of armor with high defense after defeating a mech boss. Oh, maybe I should have bought buffs. I should have bought buffs. I'm bringing buffs to that. Deciding not to use buffs and avoid spending defender medals on a sentry turned out to be a terrible idea, causing me to lose a few attempts at the Old One's army. Oh, I did it again. I'm so stupid. Oh, thank God. Thank God that didn't take forever. Let's try this again. Yes. Ugh. I did it. That took me way too long. Nice. Golden fish in your rod. The reason it wasn't working, so I hadn't taken that off. Although it probably wouldn't bring any benefit, I decided to craft the bundle balloons before making an arena in the snow biome to fight the second to last boss in pre-hard mode, Deerclops. There it is. Because of 1, my lack of experience fighting this boss, and 2, the uptick in difficulty Legendary Mode brings, I thought that fighting Deerclops would be just as difficult, if not worse than Skeletron and the Brain of Cthulhu. Now you might have missed something about this fight, and I surely did at first, but after this boss, I come to realise I'd only made it harder for myself. I thought it was going to be way harder. What happened to the other attack? The one where he launches all the debris into the air. What happened to that? I could farm for the bee's knees. What's the difference in defense for these? Oh, wait. Did I just fight Deerclops? I just fought Deerclops with mining gear on. So you're telling me that that fight was a joke whilst using weak armor? And now for the final boss before hard mode, the Wall of Flesh. Now there was a couple of oversights in this battle, being the lack of heart lanterns and campfires for regen, and also the lack of banners to reduce damage taken from fire imps. This was purely due to the fact I was too lazy and thought that the fight would turn out okay anyways. What I did not consider is the fact that fire imps in this boss fight would fireball significantly faster than they do outside of the Wall of Flesh. This, combined with the fact that I had no banners placed down, meant that fire imps could do upwards of 90 damage per hit, whilst hitting me somewhat often. Ow. What did I take 90 damage from? I think it's just the fire imps. Ow. Taking damage. Taking damage. There's no way I'm underpowered for this. I think it's just the fire imp, you know? Why do you do so much damage, bro? It's just the fire imps. Oh, they're all starting to do more though. Stop! Why do they do so much damage, bro? Stop! My problem has not been solved. My problem has not been solved at all. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna... Why do they do so much damage? Oh, I hate fire imps, man. I thought the minecart would be enough. Yep, that's how I died. That's how this run ends. To the burning spheres thrown by the fire imps. After trying to create a minecart track that would aim to prevent damage from fire imps, they still managed to take me out of this challenge in the end. Now, I'd prefer not to attempt this again. However, I will either do this challenge again, or a separate challenge suggested in the comments, if this video manages to somehow hit 1,000 likes. So if you'd like to see me suffer more, or you just want more of these videos, make sure to like and subscribe, as I'm more likely to continue making them if you continue to watch them. Anyways, that's me done for today. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.